Money moves. Let's look at life. If I was cool. Yo, success ain't a straight line, they flip their fate. Turn setbacks to comebacks, now they're straight greats. From the grind to the shine, watch the pros improve. On unconventional money, it's the next gen groove. Genius minds outside the lines. On unconventional money, we rise and shine. Unconventional money moves, where success rewrites the rules.
Kayshree is definitely taking a different approach to things, and right now your main mission is working with children between the ages of like 8 and 18 in terms of helping them develop certain skills. Tell us about what you're working on.
Josh, that's correct. So it is kids from 8 to 18, and we take them through an entrepreneurship program. It's a global movement whereby we teach kids to develop themselves, mindset, leadership, and we teach them how to build real businesses.
Super cool. How did you get into this? Because I don't think this is something that is taught to us in school, that hey, I'm gonna grow up and teach kids how to change the world, change their path, and build something that's meaningful.
Exactly that. Having an entrepreneurship pathway. So my mom introduced me to being your own business or having your own business, and I had my own dance school at the age of 10, and I used to model and went about to represent my country on many stages and platforms. And 15 years down the line, I then studied and majored in marketing, and I was a financial advisor for 15 years. And then life threw me a curveball, and I got divorced, and it was one of the most painful things I've ever been through, because I had a little boy. And I think as a mom, you just feel like, the life is getting sucked out of you, because you just don't know which way to go, what's happening with your life. Yeah, life just happens to you. And then to top it off on that, my mom passed away. So she was like my best friend, my mentor, everything. And it was quite sad because she was quite young, and it was through cancer that she passed away. And I think after that, it just like I got lost in the sense that I didn't know what to do, because I always had her, and she always, gave me that courage to get up, go do something else. And now that person's gone. And my son, what I kept doing is just for him to deal with and for me to also have some kind of sanity. I gave him the iPad, and he was glued to it all the time. And it was, Mom, can I have a new game? Can I have a new skin? This app, that app. And I was just like, whoa, But at that point in time, I was dealing with everything or learning how to deal with it. And one day he came to me and he was like, Mom, can you buy me this app? And I said, you know what, son, this time I do not have a single cent. In fact, I was more than $30,000 in debt. And I just said to him, no, son, I cannot, and he was like, why not? You're always giving me whatever, and you're always saying yes. And I said, well, now I do not have anything. So we're going to sit down. And then I literally felt like, life was getting sucked out of me, that silence between me and him. And then I said to him, son, I'm going to teach you. I've actually have years and years of experience of business, of marketing, of financial advice, and in terms of the industry. So I know exactly what to do. And now I'm going to stop and I'm going to teach you. So if you want a game, this is what you need to do. And this is how we're going to get you a game. And it was that time we sat on a cereal box with crayons, and we drafting out his first business idea. And then it dawned on me, and it said, if I am helping my child with this, just imagine how many other children or how many other parents are going through a similar thing. And
Mhm.
that's where it all started. That's where Dreamers and Founders movement actually began. So yeah.
Wow. So your mom passed away and you got divorced. Did all that happen like back to back? Was that
Yes.
like all in
It
one
was
year?
that boom, you know. Huh. Yeah.
So when you were going through that, like what was going through your mind having it sounds like a young son.
Yeah. So at the time, my son was like not more than 2 years old, 3 years old. And it was like I grew up knowing parents and family, that's your most important um, thing in life. And divorce was a no-no for me. So firstly, it was like that mind shift for me to understand and come to terms with it and say it's okay. It's okay that two people don't fulfill the promises, and it's okay to now move on, and the two of you are, and you know what, now we are in like 10 times better. We happier apart, and it's so good for my son because I think if we had to stay together, it was just, I don't know, crazy for him. So yeah, it was extremely difficult. Didn't know how to deal with it. And I think that's where it I kind of got lost, and I kind of, sort of felt like I was drowning because it was so intense. And I'm usually a person that I can handle a lot. But when it comes to like your emotions, and I can handle business and I can handle clients and, anything businessy, throw it at me, I can, handle. But from a personal point of view, when that gets thrown at you, you just like, whoa, I'm not equipped for this. Someone else needs to come and they need to now swoop this up. So yeah, it took a lot out of me. I had lots of family support, and I had lots of professional help to just get over that. But yeah,
Mhm. So how did you go through that mind shift reset to take like a very negative experience with those events happening and were able to flip it into a positive because it seems like you came out ahead.
when I tell you it was extremely tough, it did not just happen overnight. It was a good year to 2 years that you went through the grieving, because whilst I was going through the divorce, my mom was terribly sick with cancer, so she was at her last stages. And when you have a little boy that's extremely busy and full of energy, and here you are splitting yourself between work, taking mom to hospitals, getting chemo, just making sure that she's comfortable enough. It is insane. You feel like you need to clone yourself because somebody else needs to step in. And at that time, I was still a financial advisor. So I still was working. And if you know anything about financial advisory, it's the toughest job anyone could have, because it's not every day you want to tell somebody, listen, would you like to give your wife a few dollars, a few $1 million when you pass away? So it's not a conversation, but it's a very hard sell as well. And especially in South Africa, because a lot of people don't believe in it. So it's 10 times harder. So you've got to push through that. And I think for me, what kept me really sane was for my son, to see my son, and for me to say to myself, what am I doing? How am I going to, in terms of what perception am I leaving for my child to follow? And for a long time, it was like, oh, no, he's a child. He'll get over it. He'll get over it. And I've had many talks with family, with friends, professional help to say, you know what, these are the things that you need to change, because for him, he might be 3 years old or whatever, but he will still remember some of these traits. And it was very important for me to instill the right things for him to see me as. So I did it all. I mean, before the logo, before the public speaking, before anything, my son was my driver, and he literally was with me through everything. He was there through the sleepless nights. He was, you know, with everything. So yes, it was extremely tough, and is any entrepreneur will tell you an entrepreneurial journey is never just a smooth sailing path. It's actually a nightmare, to be honest, but a very good nightmare, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, it can be a nightmare sometimes. I'm actually like a financial professional, so I kind of get where you're coming from. I don't know what financial advisory means in South Africa, but I'm sure it has similar meaning to what we do over here in the States. And I mean, with starting what you're starting now, which is Dreamers and Founders. So was this what you were working on as you were going through this with your son, still working in financial advisory? Like, is this what you were starting to build? Like, walk us through that path.
When I did financial advisory, I had no idea about this. It was not even a thought, it was not available at all. I think I was just stuck in the motion. And, when you're so used to doing something all the time, it almost becomes like monotonous in a way to say, okay, I wake up, I'm there, this is X amount of clients I need to see a day, I need to call this client, I need to send these emails, etc. And whilst going through the divorce and whilst losing my mom and, just trying to deal with everything, I felt like I wasn't enough. I felt like something was missing inside of me, but I just didn't know what it was. And every day I would get up, I'd be going to work, but I never enjoyed it. I never felt fulfilled. And it was only up until, the divorce and mom passing away, I think that's where the shift really happened, to say, okay, look, did I really enjoy this? Did I truly enjoy it? Or was it just good for those years? But now I want something more fulfilling. I want something where I can actually make an impact. And the day that my son came to me and he asked for another game, then it hit me to say, look, I would bend over backwards. I'd work 5 jobs if I had to make sure that my son was okay and he had whatever I could give him. But what more? Like, what could I give him that he could have for life? And then I thought about my childhood, and I thought about what my mom gave me and how she taught me. It wasn't about just dishing out a toy or a new outfit, etc. She gave me raw, hard skills of entrepreneurship. She taught me how to make my own money. She taught me what to do with it. She taught me how to spend it. Not only on shopping, but yes, and I said to myself, what am I doing to my son? How am I going to make sure that I become a better parent, And I think that's when it really dawned on me, I said to myself, I said, you know what, I've got to snap out of this. I've got to snap out of the negativity. I've got to snap out of all of just thinking and doing, like, going through the motions of life, but more so, what can I do to really make an impact in his life? Because I think the biggest thing now that I've also see is my son and his friends. It's kids today aren't street smart. It's, oh, how can I make a quick buck? Let me do a Bitcoin, or let me, go and become an influencer. Whilst that might be okay, but, is that really going to last them through life? And that's where I said, okay, I'm going to sit you down and I'm going to actually teach you how to make your own money. And that's, with instincts as well. Got to teach him where to see what's coming his way, the different attributes. And that's what was the driving motion for me with him. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I went through something similar. Like, I was working at like a large company, I was doing well, but then I felt like there's nothing else to do. It was just like you learned everything, you've done everything, you've accomplished everything, and then now it was just like go to work, do what you're supposed to, make money. And for myself, I wanted something better for that, so I ultimately like left a real job to like pursue entrepreneurship, which is sounds similar to what you went through as well. So as you're teaching your son, what was the first thing that you taught him about entrepreneurship, business, investing? Do you remember?
Yeah. So we actually, I went through and I said to him, "Do you know what it's like to own your own business?" And he says, "Mom, why do we need to own our own business? There's businesses everywhere." And then I said to him, I said, "Son, do you know that those people, the businesses that are there, are actually real people? You know? Wouldn't you like to own a business one day?" So he says, "Do I get to have a Ferrari?" And that was his first thing, because I think, he's had lots of conversations with his dad, and it was all about a Ferrari and a Lamborghini that he needed. That was his ultimate thing at that time. So if you had to buy him a toy, it was a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. So he was
For
like,
me, it was the
"Mom."
Batmobile.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
I want a
so
Batmobile.
so it was all about that. And I said to him, "Okay, so going back, let's go and research. Let's look at how Lamborghini was formed, how it got, and how did it become so famous." And when we went through it, and he was like, "Wow, Mom, I didn't even know that, you know." And we started off very small. We started off with cookies and cakes. And my son loved baking, absolutely loved it. So it was something fun for him to do. And he really took to that. When he got his first sale, it was like, "Yay, mommy, yay." And I think as a parent, that is the most rewarding thing ever, because your son comes back and extremely confident, extremely, believing that they can do this. And I think that sets them on another level, that they're not so concerned about, what toy this or that is going to come back, because this here gave them more, you know. And I think that in itself was just, it was like, one day when I'm not here, at least I know that you would be able to fend for yourself, you'd be able to stand on your own 2 feet, and you'd be able to bounce back, because that's the most important thing for me, is no matter what you go through, businesses fail, you know but it's how you bounce back. And just teaching him that, and teaching our other kids, that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I mean, business, it's definitely, I mean, sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's hard. It's just like anything. One of the things I didn't account for when going into business is when you work at like a company, there's typically like rules in place. So if someone's like doing what they're not supposed to do, like they can be caught. When you get outside like of a corporate setting, people can kind of do whatever they want. And that is what like I didn't realize heading out into the, I guess, the real world is I didn't account for like people not doing what they were supposed to.
But it's rewarding, and it's fun when it isn't as well.
Yeah, I
So
mean it's
yeah.
rewarding. I mean sometimes you're sitting there and a little thought creeps in and you're like, do I really want to be doing this? And it's like, all right, yeah. And then like you get back. But I mean like it's through the motions. I was talking to someone the other day, like the lows get higher and the highs get higher. You know, there's always lows, there's always highs, but they're constantly moving up. So if you're constantly moving up, that definitely puts you on a solid path. It's just most things aren't just instantaneous, which it's hard to teach kids. So how did you teach your kid, your son, to learn that? Because like nowadays everything is so easy to get. Like you don't even have to go to a store anymore if you don't have to.
With him, it was very different, because he's super energetic. And It was more about creating discipline. And I think that's the important key that also, we carry through our program, is to ensure that there is discipline and there is structure and proper systems in play. So yes, we make it super fun and we make it um, interactive so that they don't get bored. But at the same time, they also need to understand that there's discipline, there's structure, and, there's respect, because that goes a long way in life. And what I feel, when we get kids into the program, let alone my son, and it would be like, oh, you need to do this and you need to do that. And we're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's calm everybody down here, and we take them through the journey before they are done with that program. We get parents saying, I don't know what you've done to my child, a brand new child, respects me, talks to me. I can actually have a conversation. They're loving. And we just said, you know what? It's that shift in a little bit of where they feel they're comfortable enough, but also grounding them, because that's so important. And with my son, it was very difficult at first, but once you lay the ground rules and the proper foundation, everything and anything can be achieved with them. So yeah, now he is there. So we limit him in terms of screen time, because we believe that, a child shouldn't be on the screens 24/7. They should rather take their time, build. So in the program, they will, do fun activities outside to build up stimulation activities to ensure that the creativity comes along, to build their programs. And with my son as well, we've done that several times. So we've got to play with him a little bit, and then you bring him back, and then you play with him a little bit, and you bring him back, because he is super energetic. And if he doesn't feed off that energy, nothing is going to go in anywhere. So, yeah.
So with dreamers and founders, you said in your the notes before the show that it's a like global movement. How are you positioning this to be a global movement? Like, what steps are you currently taking to get there?
So, we're having a masterclass on the 26th of June for
Okay.
everyone, parents and children, ages 8 to 18. And we take them through the program. We teach them how to build their business. So at the end of the masterclass, they would have known how to build their business. And after that, we do have a one-on-one coaching program with them, where we take each child, and within 14 days, they will have their fully fledged open business, where everything will be included in there. And we go through the motions in terms of systems, plays. We give all the swipe files, the funnels, the sales, actual businesses that they could start, because a lot of children come in not knowing, what to go into, what not to go into, what is for them. A lot of them don't even know that, they have an entrepreneurial spirit in them. And I think the key thing there is for us to ignite that dream, because that's the most important thing. I think all children have a dream. We're not saying that all kids are going to be entrepreneurs, but it's important to build that streak into them. It's important to teach them that, so that, in life, wherever they go, they've got that foundation set. So no matter what comes their way, they are able to bounce back. And, we're a big believer in failing forward. So whatever it is, it's a learning step. Whatever they're going through, as long as I strongly believe, as long as kids have a very good support structure, they're set for life.
So it sounds like if they don't have a good support structure, that leads kids to not pursue what they could pursue.
Don't have a good support structure, but kids will become kids. They will be kids no matter what. But if you want to set your kid ahead of the rest, then you've got to do different things. It's like saying, if you want to do the same thing but get a different result, that's the first sign of insanity. So with kids as well, we've got to try different things. I mean, if you want a different outcome, if you don't want your kids glued to a screen the whole day on TikTok, on YouTube, on PlayStation games the whole time, then you've got to do something differently to ensure that that doesn't happen. And I think that's where Dreamers and Founders is absolutely amazing, because we don't say that the kids shouldn't have any screen time, but we saying, instead of just letting them being glued to it, develop other skills in them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's all balance. I mean, I think everyone needs to limit their screen time, you and I included. But I mean, after a long day of working and chasing the kid around, and you just want to sit on the couch and look at the screen and turn your brain off if you can. But you have to remember, like, hey, like, I need to make sure I get some sunlight, or go to the gym, or move my body, or read a book, or do something. Just because it's so easy to get sucked in. Like, before you know it, you're like, my hands are falling asleep holding a phone. So that's cool. With Dreamers and Founders, is it with children and their parents, or is it just children? I know you said you had the class coming up in a few weeks.
So the masterclass, we do include the parents, because we feel that it's important for parents to understand what their children are going to get involved into. And especially with a business, because with a business, and if a parent is there to support them, we're not asking parents to do the actual work for them, because then it defeats the whole purpose. But if there's a bit of support structure, if there's a bit of mommy's watching over me type of thing, so then I can come bounce off ideas, so that's always a nice thing to have. And we always create sort of a support structure for parents, because I think parents have a really tough job. And having experienced that myself, I definitely say, what, we need all the support we get, because today's kids are not like how we grew up. So yes, in the community that we have, we've got children's psychologists, we've got relationship consultants that literally, bond with families and help families to bond with each other. So it's really great to see that, where a relationship can go from, my child hasn't spoken to me for weeks, shuts the door and says, leave me alone, to now, my child involves me in their life. So I think for us, that is a huge achievement, because no parent should ever feel unwanted or anything like that. And sometimes, you do let kids be kids, and that's okay. But sometimes we also just want to be heard and seen, and just felt like we are loved, and we are a parent, and we're not just there to fund all your needs and wants. So yeah, the parents are there, and they're there to help them to build. And if the parents want to go through the course, they're more than welcome to do it as well, because it's a course that actually works.
Yeah, that's cool. So, I, out of curiosity, so has been what has been the most, maybe not the most successful business, but maybe the most creative business idea that one of the students has come up with that you could remember?
Wow. Okay, so there's a lot, and that's a really hard question, because now which one do you choose? I think the most
Maybe not your
creative,
favorite. You can just reference one and make
the
it
most
easier when you're going through your brain.
the absolute most creative one was, I think it was Sarah. She made what did it- what- she made, what was this? So she took like bath bombs, and she made it in a way that was not, it doesn't have any of the additives, or it was all natural. So there was nothing that could affect anyone's skin. But it was the shapes, it was the colors, it was mind blowing, and it went viral. It like she literally, we done it in less than a week. Yeah, we got everything done. Less than a week. She tried, she tested everything. On day 13, her store went viral.
Mm.
Absolutely viral. It was insane, the amount of sales. I mean, Sarah was only 13 years old and she had made almost, I think it was close to $768,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was insane, absolutely insane. Her mom was like, "Oh my God. I did not know that this could happen." But yeah, she had a drive, she had a passion. And again, it's so important to have someone see that in you and to bring it out and to believe in you. And I think that's where kids, can fall short.
Hmm.
So yeah.
That's an amazing story, and it's super exciting as a founder, a parent, and then the child who's like has this success happen so fast. However, with a business, you can get like a big influx of sales really fast, and then it fizzles out. So as a kid, it might be hard to comprehend. Like, hey, this was like a, you know, don't expect this all the time, but that doesn't mean your business is a failure. It's just sometimes you have a really good outcome from a campaign and you go viral and you make a lot of sales, and that's great. But like, you can't just like pinpoint success based off like, oh, like I did really good this month and every other month I'm not doing as good, so I'm a failure, because that could be really hard for kids to comprehend.
With Sarah, what we did with her, it wasn't just, she didn't make all that amount in that one sale, but it
Okay.
was over a period of time. And it was very important, for them to also realize that when you do get any amount that of sales that you've gotten back, it's important for us to make sure that kids understand it doesn't go to their head, and it's important for us to make sure that they understand that at the end of the day, this is something just to teach you additionally. So if you are in school or if you are homeschooling or whatever formal education you are getting, that becomes priority for us. And is very important for us to ensure and instill into them to say, look, that is your first priority. This, it's a holiday project, it's a weekend project, it's something, and we build businesses that are on automation, and that's why it's so important for the child to have some kind of adult somewhere there, so that when the child is focusing, and they must understand that the focus is solely on school first, that has been given to them, but on the back end, these things are happening for them. So we do have lots of psychologists going through the motions with the kids, and we've built our training purely on a psychology background to ensure that they also understand, if today you don't make a sale, don't worry, we tweak one or two things and we will get you your result. So, one of the things that we really, really stand by in our program is we've got a money back guarantee, that if you do not hit your business target or whatever, without our, like, we would help you. And if you still feel you haven't reached your target, we would give the money back.
I think
So
this could
that's
be a good
really,
course for anyone, not just
yeah,
kids.
yeah.
Because like
But I
whether
think
you
our
are playing a sport or anything, like sometimes you have to go back to like the basics of the basics to find out where you're possibly like missing out on.
yeah, that's true. So for us, there is lots and lots of psychology behind it to ensure that kids be kids at the end of the day, but it's just to instill street smartness, discipline, mindset, confidence. I think that's the biggest thing for us. Yeah.
Yeah, for anyone. I mean, it's very easy to lose your confidence when things aren't going well and you're
Yeah.
starting a business and you're not making any progress for what could be a really long time. It's like, how do you stick with it when you're not seeing results?
Yeah. And I think for us, we see that kids are fearless because, I think when you grow up and when you're an adult, there's always this, am I good enough? Should I be doing this? No, I can't do that. What's the world going to think about me? And kids are, I'm ready to do this. I don't care who's there, who's not there, who's looking at me, who's not. And I think that's where it's just absolutely amazing to see because they're just outstanding, and that you know it's just a few things that needs to be tweaked and churned rightly. Where adults, it's going to take a lot out of you to change because now you set in your ways, you've got habits, and you've got to now change it to want to be doing something different.
Yeah, change is hard. I mean, kids change is hard too. Like, you mess with their schedule and they're just like all thrown off. I don't know. Uh, How come how come adults have harder time with change, you think, than children?
I think it's more about when adults, it's how you grow, how you're brought up, because you're brought up, whether you have different thoughts around money, around certain ideas in your life, and that also plays a huge part in how you want to be seen to people, how you want to, I don't know, go out there and be, because you're too scared. You're too scared of what people are going to think. Can you start over? No way, I can't start over. I think, and here a typical example for me was, I, with all the divorce and everything, I was like, there is no way I am going to post anything online. And my coach actually said to me, with Kayshree, you don't need to post anything of your life anywhere because you are so scared of getting out there. And I think it was a huge thing to say, I was married and now I'm divorced, and how's everybody going to look at me? And you know what is society going to say? Because not everybody knew I was divorced. So again, with adults, you've got all of this, and it's this overthinkingness, whereas with kids, they don't have that. They've got no filter. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't share like too many personal things online. It's mostly just like business stuff or just like education stuff. Just because I don't know, for me it's like whenever I see like the post and it's kind of like you know, uh, a sad post or something, I'm kind of like, I don't know, I just don't want that attention if I'm like going through something. At the same time though, I think it's important. I believe it's important to be real with people. If you're like, hey, like I'm going through a tough time right now, but I'm doing XYZ in order to get back on track, just to like let people in a little bit, versus some people like put up a wall, but in order to like build something, you have to let people in. Even though you've gone through some pain in the past, it could be hurtful to be trusting again.
You're so scared to be vulnerable because people take that and they use it against you, or they take it and they, want to, I don't know, make fun of you and abuse it to a certain degree. So you've got to tread very carefully. And I think, yeah, depends how the friends and family, and through tough times, you get to see the real people. Hey,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's the tough times where you figure out who you really are.
true, very true. And they say, that it's tough times that either make you or break you. So 100% agree with that.
Well, I love what you're doing. I'm so happy that we were able to get you on. Um, after we're done here, I actually have some kids books I wrote. I want to share with you. I want to send them to you because it might be helpful for your cause. Where I tried finding you like on Instagram. Like, where can myself and other people like find you to like connect, to figure out if dreamers and founders make sense for their kids?
Okay, so it is under Dreamers and Founders handle
Okay,
on socials, but I'll send you the links and then you could pop it on as well. But yeah, they could just search Dreamers and Founders and it would be there.
sweet. Well, Kayshree, you're doing it all, helping kids find their path in life and keep them fearless, because if you can stay fearless, whether you're a kid or an adult, it definitely sets you apart from most people out there. Awesome. We'll see everyone next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Cool.